Are you ready to do some shadow work this week? If so, stick around. We'll be using the Shadowland Tarot, so stay tuned if you want to see what these 3 cards are. Hi, it's Leia. Welcome to this episode of Diaries of a Witchy Creative Life. Welcome to another weekly reading. As I mentioned in the intro, we are using the Shadowland Tarot. I love this deck. On this channel, the readings that we do are not predictive. We focus on shadow work, which is diving beneath the surface, to take a look at what we've dissociated from or what we might be in denial of, so that we can reconnect with these parts of ourselves, or at least begin the journey of finding peace when it comes to these things that we've swept under the rug. While you can do shadow work with practically any deck, what I love about this one is it is specifically set up for that. So if you end up getting it, you'll see that in the guidebook. I was saving this deck because it has a Halloween-y vibe, although of course, shadow work knows no time. But in terms of the aesthetic and all that, I was going to include it in my Halloween lineup. However, this is an extra special deck because my dad got it for me. He visited almost a year ago and he got this deck for me just shortly before my birthday, which I so love and appreciate. Anyhow, even though this is a dated reading, I only do that because I want to be able to put out a general collective shadow work reading for the week. But it's actually timeless if you like contemplating, reflecting, doing inner growth work, writing in a journal. These weekly reading videos on this channel, no matter what the date, work for that purpose, and there's a whole playlist of them. I link that in the description in case you missed any of those videos and want to take a look at them. So let's get started. We don't follow any spread here. We are simply going to look at the cards individually and formulate questions for us to ponder on based on the card meanings. Let's flip over card number 1. We have the 6 of Swords. Is it focusing? There we go. The 6 of Swords is about moving forward, or about planning to at least. It could be about a literal trip or journey, if not beginning a figurative one. And all that includes possible issues that could be holding you back or that you may be carrying with you on this journey or move. I love using different decks for these readings because even if the main meaning of the card remains the same, we use the Rider-Waite-Smith system here, by the way. That's what the decks that I use are almost all based on. So even if we've pulled the 6 of Swords before, and it does have the same meaning as all the other 6 of Swords, the illustration on the card does lend a different perspective. I'm going to point out, for example, this guide right here, the fairy person, and we also have this dragon. Depending on what deck you use, you may see just a person or people in the boat, but there isn't any navigator or fairy person. Sometimes there is. And that dragon is certainly a more unique aspect to it. And so let me ask you, where in your life are you ready to move forward? Where might you be holding yourself back, even though you know it's time to move forward? And for some of you out there, like I mentioned, this is a literal move. Maybe some of you know that it's time for a change of residence, a change of job, a change of relationship, Or bare minimum, when it comes to the relationship, it's time to put an end to the one that you're in and begin the journey now of being without that person. Of course, it would be helpful to examine the baggage that may be affecting this move or these changes. Change, even if it's for the best, even if it's something that you're excited about, is rarely easy and completely smooth. It's totally normal to feel sad about endings, even if you look forward to your next destination. So keep that in mind. Don't beat yourself up for feeling what you're feeling. But maybe some of you out there might be stopping yourself from moving forward because you don't want to confront these. So reflect on that. And another aspect that I'm bringing up here is collaboration. See how the dragon and the navigator or fairy person are part of this story. Maybe some of you out there have put off moving forward because you feel alone or you feel like you lack support, in which case maybe it's time to search for someone who's qualified to help you or who gladly can. And for others, this could also mean that you are actually that helping hand for someone who is in the middle of a transition. Maybe someone who's near and dear to you or someone in your life could really use the help, which you can give them, but they haven't asked or they're hesitant to ask. Well, here's an opportunity for you to keep your eyes and ears open, to keep your feelers up, if this is something that you are able and willing to do at this time for someone else. Moving on to card number 2, we have the King of Pentacles. It's a bit glary, so let me adjust the light. There, I shifted the light a little bit. The King of Pentacles is about structure, restraint, the ability to be a leader or to be able to head a business with your penchant for meticulousness. So, how and where could you use more stability in your life? Even if you're the sort of person who enjoys being very free-spirited, who loves living your life outside the box, who thrives on coloring outside the lines, really, take a look at where in your life or what area in your life could you use more stability, more structure. This does not at all mean tying yourself down or changing your free-spirited ways. All it is about adding a little element of balance somehow. Besides, it can help you. Any one of us could use an anchor here or there so that we don't just feel like we're floundering or flailing. And even if that isn't your specialty, if it really is necessary for you to get an area of your life in order because something that's important depends on it, maybe you can turn to someone who specializes in that to help you. For example, some people absolutely dread paperwork. They would rather forego filling out paperwork instead of facing that horrible feeling they get when they do it or when they've forced themselves to do it in the past. I personally know someone who equates paperwork to nails on a chalkboard, and they would rather fall behind on what that paperwork is for, even if it's really important, like for their insurance or some sort of document renewal. If structure and being disciplined isn't your forte, well, so what, right? No need to beat yourself up for that. But being able to recognize where you could use a little bit more of a framework, where it would help you to actually follow some guidelines. Even if it means asking for help, let's say from a friend or your significant other, where, like in the case of this anti-paperwork person, for instance, they're present to provide all the details, and they oversee the paperwork as it's being done, but they put the actual work of filling out the papers in somebody else's hands just to get it done. It could be a form of self-sabotage or punishing yourself if you let certain parts of your life fall behind just because you don't see yourself as capable. So think about where some structure and meticulousness could do you good for those of you who are already pretty on top of things. Maybe what we've addressed so far isn't that big of a deal, so maybe for some of you, it's time to take those skills and move on to the next level. Is it time to start some sort of endeavor, head some sort of project where you would enjoy using your skills for being detailed and grounded? Something for you to chew on right there. And our last but not least card for the week is the Three of Swords. If you're a regular here, the Three of Swords has come up at least a couple of times. That would be in the how-to tarot videos as far as I can remember. So even if you're a beginner, you might already have some familiarity with this card based off of that. And you would know that the Three of Swords is generally about heartbreak or heartache, being hurt, feeling vulnerable. What's cool though about the depiction of the Three of Swords in this card is, see that bird? It's trying to appear cool despite having that hurt and wounded heart. And so yes, some of the obvious questions are, how might you be heartbroken? How might you be feeling vulnerable right now? In what ways could you be hurt? And this isn't just about recent events. This is a chance right here for you to address hurts that you've been carrying around for a while. So yes, those are all questions that come with this card. How, though, might you be like this bird? Where could you possibly be pretending that you're cool, you're good, but you actually aren't? And really take a look within, because it's possible that you might have even yourself convinced that you're fine when you aren't. Sometimes we don't feel anything, at the moment at least, when it comes to disappointments, heartbreaks, losses, because we've shoved all those feelings so far down that we aren't in touch with them. They continue to exist though, and once they float to the surface, you are going to feel them. Here's your chance to look at them, even if it is from a more intellectual and detached standpoint. It's okay if you aren't feeling what someone might expect when it comes to these things like sadness or anger. Maybe it isn't time for you to feel any of those yet, but you can begin to admit to yourself now that yes, you are still gravely disappointed that you didn't get that promotion 5 years ago, that it went to someone else, someone who isn't even as qualified as you for that position, someone who was new at that company that you'd been at for many years. Maybe for others, there's a love that you haven't gotten over, even if it has been a while. You let them go because it was the mature thing to do. But that was on the outside. On the inside, the hurt is still there, and it hasn't been addressed. Like I said, even if you aren't feeling any emotions tied to any of these now, but you know that they still have a hold on you, it does make a difference that you're addressing them. This is not for nothing at all. It isn't just dredging up the past. The awareness makes you better equipped to deal with these. Like I said, instead of them just creeping up on you. Because that's what the shadow does. Anything that we're in denial of that we don't want to look at, all we need is to get triggered the right way, and out it comes. And it might not be at a very convenient time. In fact, it could be during one of the least convenient times for you, like during a job interview, or on a date, or in a conversation with someone you really care about. You know, something slips out. You say the wrong thing. All because you were triggered and something you're not aware of that was inside of you took a hold of you in that moment. So, better to be aware, right? Thank you so much for joining me for this video. For those of you who found this helpful, if you haven't yet, I invite you to subscribe and take a look at the other videos on this channel, because there are many along these lines that you might enjoy too. I'll be back very soon. There will be another weekly reading video at the end of next week, And before then, there will be other tarot videos related to healing, self-awareness, shadow work, and the like. Until then, take care of yourself. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now. Lots more Diaries of a Witchy Creative Life are on their way.